Welcome to the Industry Insider, brought to you by PromoCorner. Each week, promotional product professionals Meg Erber, Jeff Franklin, and Stephen McFadden, along with special guests, will discuss industry news, trends, and events with a focus on educating the promotional products industry. The Industry Insider, the nerdy news you need to know.
Welcome back to yet another exciting episode of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I'm joined today by my two co-hosts, Meg Erber and Stephen McFadden. But of course, before we get to them, we got to tell you about our fine sponsors for this episode. Our great friends over at Greater Pacific. They're your full-service creative agency. Their experience comes from the experience of thousands of custom projects completed for clients for over 2 decades now, with expertise in promotional products and advertising specialties industry, custom OEM, product design, project management, CPSAA compliance, product testing, and full service logistics. They've done it all and become more effective with every opportunity. Greater Pacific creates the ultimate manufacturing experience for their clients. So go visit them at greaterpacific.com today. Tell them the Industry Insider sent you. Why don't we say hi to Meg in the car, Erber. Meg, how are you today?
Oh, so busy. Thank you guys for jumping on a little early today. I knew my meeting that's next will run over, and I didn't want to miss the show today. So thank you.
Yeah, so we are unfortunately pre-recorded today, but it is today still. It is just an hour before we would normally go live, but just had to amend the schedule a little bit. Stephen McFadden, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Awesome.
Glad to hear it.
I am Office Stephen today.
Office Stephen, yes.
Yep.
Do you guys have promo cruise FOMO, Stephen, since you're not on it this time?
You know, a little bit. Like I want to say, oh yes, but I understand that, it needs to be a rotation of people. It'd be like if I had, FOMO every time there was a power meeting, or you know what I mean? Like I do, like I want to go to all of them, but I understand the process, so I don't. Yeah. But it is a little different, knowing I can't go on the boat, so. But I'm excited to maybe in the future send some people from our team too, so they can experience it and spread the wealth. So.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I weren't getting ready to whisk my wife away on a nice exotic long weekend getaway next weekend for a special birthday, then I would probably have a little bit more FOMO. But I'm okay right now. But yeah, look, it's cold outside, so anything that's that's Caribbean or whatever is much more exciting than being freezing cold. So. Yeah, well, we've got a cool episode for you planned today. But before we dive into the episode, we have a very special announcement that we're going to be making in about 2 weeks, live on the podcast. So if you've ever tuned into the podcast, the Industry Insider, we need you to tune in live, if at all possible, on November 22nd. Got a very, very large announcement to make there.
Probably the largest we've ever made. Wouldn't you say, Stephen? Like and it affects everybody, right?
I think the largest announcement was when we brought you on board.
Oh, aww. You're the best. Anyway.
I think this is potentially larger than that news, though. Potentially larger than that. So make sure you tune in. Would love to have a nice large audience for those announcements. But ultimately, we've got a great show for you today, and so basically, we're launching sort of Stephen's initiative with the whole the news. I forget what we actually coined for this specific segment, but. Basically, just wanted to launch into some of the news around the industry, and look, there's some timely announcements to be made, anyways. Meg, you had mentioned something about Don Olds retiring from Halo, right?
Yeah, I think we could probably jump into the personal moves that we saw. We saw Don Olds. Congratulations on your retirement. That's amazing. She is a wonderful woman who's done so much for this industry and for Halo, and super excited for her. And I think there was another one, Stephen, that you had mentioned.
Yeah, guest of the podcast or guest of the show, Kevin Mullaney,
Mr. Fat Five himself.
Yep, has taken a new role over as a national accounts manager at Snugs. So he had exited promo and he's back. So couldn't stay away.
And now he's on the supplier side, which is cool
Yep.
because he was a distributor before.
Yeah. Super happy for him. And I appreciated that he tagged me in his post. So now I'm getting all 700 plus likes and hearts that he's been getting on his announcement. But
Bless it.
Shout out to him. Congrats to him.
Yeah, that's
that may have
exciting.
been strategic, you know.
It was. There's a lot to it, but we'll just leave it at. I'm glad he's back, and it's well deserved.
Yeah,
Snugs is lucky to have him for sure.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great partnership there.
We'll definitely have to get him back on the show at some point, for sure. So yeah, why don't we launch into veterans and promo and why their backgrounds sort of fit the industry's demands? I know that was a topic that just came out on PPAI's news link.
And I think we always do a segment every year on Veterans Day, and we always thank the veterans in our industry. And it's funny that you bring this up, Jeff. Johnny, the actual author of the article, or whoever wrote it, he reached out to me for my perception, and I was like, he's like, hey, is there anyone else? I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, Tommy Lewis from Halo. We had him on here before, but basically, he wanted to know why their backgrounds really fit into this industry as well as they did, and and then asked me my opinions, like why were you successful, what attributed to that. And a lot of it comes to the similarities between the two, right? I mean, obviously not everyone is cut out for the military, but not everyone's cut out for the promo industry. The one thing that I found that was really welcoming was the community that the promotional product industry offered. It is a big community, just like the Navy was. So, I think with all the hats that I've worn as well in the industry, that also, relayed from being in the military, being able to have those leadership skills that were instilled to me, the fight or flight instincts that were instilled in me. I think, we are under a lot of stress in these jobs sometimes. A lot of time it's fun, but a lot of times it can be stressful. And I think it's how you deal with that, that kind of makes you the person that you are. And a lot of those skills I did develop in the military. So I would just highly recommend checking out that article if you guys haven't, and including anyone that's listening, because it's really, really good. And it talks about why you should hire veterans, and all the examples. And it's not just me contributing to that article. There are several people, including Maurice Norris from PPAI. I forgot that he was a veteran. So definitely check that out. I think that came out yesterday, and tomorrow is Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day.
We had because you'd mentioned how we every year try to do sort of a military, whether it's Veterans Day or Memorial Day, something along those lines, to try to bring some veterans onto the podcast. And didn't you bring on, was it Tommy Lewis from Halo that you had brought onto the podcast at one time? Yeah. He was quoted in here as well, I saw.
He does a lot with the transition. So I thought he would be a great person to interview for that, because that's literally his bread and butter. So I'm really glad that Johnny reached out to him, because he has so much insight to offer.
Yeah, I see one of the things in here that was quoted was structured yet dynamic, which is, one of those overlapping skills. Obviously you get a ton of structure from the military, which is incredibly, successful regardless of what you do in life. But, that dynamic aspect of it as well is super helpful. So yeah, very cool article. Definitely go check that out. I see here where Meg Erber, hashtag online18, was quoted in this article as well. Imagine that, our very own.
Your very own,
Our very own. All right, what do we want to launch into next? There's a couple things. We've got Oprah making the news in promo for some reason. We've got AI's role in promo growth despite some possible setbacks or disadvantages. And,
Oprah, I want to know about Oprah.
Yeah,
you want to know about Oprah?
I want to know, because she has like a things list, right? So let's talk about that. I think
her favorite things.
Pretty important.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yep. So there was a favorite things here. I didn't actually get a chance to read this article, so you'll have to bear with me as I sort of flip through it here. But I guess Therabody was the product or the supplier that sort of made her list of favorite things.
It doesn't surprise me. They were on the pitch with me, and what a great product. I would love to have that in my office, or given to me as a gift or something as a promotional product. It's amazing.
Actually, Ronnie Wright's company, the book company, is listed in here as well. So Therabody and the book company were highlighted and made the cut again. I guess this is 2 years running now, which is pretty cool.
Congratulations, Ronnie. Well deserved. That's amazing.
So I guess this is a thing that Oprah's doing every year now, where she talks about Oprah's favorite things list. It's an annual feature that drives major sales for and boosts the product sales that she spotlights. So that's pretty awesome to have that sort of little tick box or box tick.
And I would love to hear back from Ronnie and then the Therabody guy if this actually does boost their sales. Like if they see anything from, it's interesting because we're in a promo market. It's a little bit different when someone like Oprah is recommending your product, right? Does that make the distributors like want to go out and find out more information about it, or maybe they didn't know about it and now they want to include it into their projects or promotions or incentives?
I know that when she had like the book club and stuff back in the day, it was like if you got her stamp, you were basically guaranteed to be a bestseller like the next week or something like that. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm looking through some of the lists here. I saw that Stag EKG, the electric kettle. I actually met them at the expo earlier this year as well. So there's a handful of items that I'm seeing in here that are showing up in promo, which is pretty neat. I didn't even think about that.
And several of them are actual suppliers or products within our industry. Like I saw, like you had mentioned, you're going through the list. There's fellow products in here as well. I guess they've got a tumbler, a 24-ounce cold cup.
Corksicle. I see some Corksicle items in here that I know are sold in the industry.
Yep. Gym Line's got a product that's listed in here. Galaxy More Than Balloons with I guess because they're selling Beats audio, Beats Studio Pro wireless headphones, and then Lynx Unlimited. So quite a few people in our industry were spotlighted on this list. So that's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, everyone that made that list. That's incredible. We should probably link it in the chat later.
Yeah, we can definitely maybe we can get Jessica or somebody to do that for us. But if you haven't seen it, definitely go to ppai.org and check out their media and news link and check it out there. But really cool stuff. What do you guys want to launch into next? I feel like maybe AI, since we've recently discussed that. So John Corrigan just posted in the news link here, AI's role in promo grows despite some hurdles. Not really quite sure what those hurdles are, but this was a really interesting article. And, obviously we just discussed AI sort of at length in one of our recent episodes. So what do you guys think?
I think the hurdles, I'll let Steven talk on this too, but I think the hurdles are more like the safety aspect of it. I think it's just like a free for all right now, like the wild, wild west. And I think there needs to be protocols in place for safety because before it does get out of hand, because right now AI is literally the wild, wild west. I've seen it with my own eyes,
And we mentioned, I think on that episode that we did, I guess it was last week, right? And we mentioned Joe Biden issuing that executive order. And I think that's one of the things that's listed or mentioned in this article was that executive order is one of the potential setbacks. It basically establishes new standards for AI safety and security. Which, I mean, I don't know that it's a setback. I think that's a good thing. We need to make sure that we keep the AI in check,
I agree. And I will say, though, I love that people are using ChatGPT. I really do, and all their AI things, but I don't like when they're just copying and pasting. You can't just use it. Have you ever used like DALL-E or any of those AI to create a design, right? For instance, it does a great job, but sometimes it'll put words in it that don't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, right? Like it'll, hey, help me create a logo for this beer company. And it'll say like, I don't know, something off like toilet, that's what ChatGPT does too. Like it's not perfect. So when you guys are sending these copy and paste emails out all the time that I know are not you, it's not your personality. It's just kind of, it's annoying. I don't know. It's just very badly written and I could tell, and I would really like to see them take that idea and then make it into their own. It's almost like, when you're a kid and you're copying pasting off the internet, it's very similar. So if you guys are using it, just use it correctly. You don't copy and paste. Use it to help supplement it for ideas, and then put your own words to it, your own spin to it. That's all.
But that's exactly why I said in that episode last week was, basically everybody's worried about all these disruptors in the marketplace or, being left behind and things like that. And I think the more and more people that adopt that stuff, they're going to be lazy and just copy and paste, like you had mentioned. So
Mhm.
I think it really opens the door for people to be creative and unique that aren't using it, or to use it the right way.
Yeah.
So we said that last week. I think that still stands, obviously. Stephen, do you have anything to add with the AI or Chat GPT or any of what we're dealing with right now?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what hurdles are being referenced as far as the article. Um, I'm trying to think what hurdle it would be other than us. You know what I mean? Like, I think that the biggest hurdle for our industry has always just been that we're outdated. So it's if that's the hurdle, it's our own problem. It's not an AI problem. So I think that it's really going to be just an adoption issue more so than a technology issue.
They've got some really interesting stats in this article. Like, I don't know if you guys have actually looked into this at all,
I
but
haven't seen
Yeah.
the article.
I would not have thought that there's this kind of adoption rate already. I mean, it says that there are 22% of distributors using tech for generating design ideas, and also for AI powered chatbots. That's a lot. Like, that's 22% already.
Mhm.
I like
Do you
that.
feel
I
like
mean,
that number's high already, or do you think that's
I think that's on par. It's
really?
I think the 22% are really the early adapters and people that are just dabbling in it. I don't think
Well, I
that's
think
a strong 22.
there was something that came out. There was a futurist that we were listening to in Denver, and they were talking about the adoption and download rates for ChatGPT, the app, and it was the fastest to a billion users of any app ever of all time. So they said, look at tech, the newer you get in the timeline, the faster things are getting there. So, Facebook obviously took a little bit of time, and then all of a sudden it got there. YouTube was there. TikTok was like 3 or 4 months, but it was super fast. Chat GPT was like less than a month. It was the fastest adopted app ever, and it was something close to like 85% of people have used it at this point.
Wow.
It's something like crazy. So when I look at 22%, that tells me that's on par with our industry. That's
Yeah.
if 85% of the people in the world have used it, or in the country have used it, and only 22% of our business industry is using it, that still shows me the adoption is low.
Here's
the
the
country.
interesting thing, though. They mentioned that 1/3, of course, PPAI using a lot of the PPAI 100 suppliers and distributors for their research,
Which will be some of the more advanced companies, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, but apparently 1/3 of the PPAI 100 suppliers and 22% of the 100 distributors have experienced no significant impact after implementing the technology. So not everyone's seeing the benefits of the AI, which, again, maybe they're not using it right, or maybe we haven't really figured out how to quite implement it yet for our industry. But that's a pretty interesting stat there as well.
Well, when you say that, I guess I misinterpreted that. You're saying they didn't see any impact, but the article's about overcoming obstacles. So my assumption would be that they haven't seen any obstacles with it. Like, there's been no challenges with implementation.
It's the fraud detection aspect.
Are you saying that they're not seeing any changes in their business? Like, is that helping them?
It's basically they're not seeing any significant impacts of implementing the AI.
Oh, okay. So it's no issues with implementing.
No. I mean, there are obstacles, obviously. Like, additionally, 60% of suppliers compared to 13% of distributors find integrating AI with their existing systems to be an obstacle. So obviously, there's some hurdles and things like that.
That's going to be a challenge, yeah.
That particular stat that I had mentioned with the 1/3 of PPI was 100 suppliers, and 22% of the distributors have basically already implemented it and not seen, significant growth. So I guess that's maybe 1/3 of the percentage of people that have already adopted it. I'm not sure exactly what those numbers are. It's a little bit skewed based on, just the verbiage there. But anyhow, anything else about AI or Chat GPT, or do you guys want to launch into the last one here?
Well, one other thing I wanted to say about that is that I was talking to a decorator yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, all this AI is great, but none of it's vector. Like, I can't print any of this stuff."
Well, that's not true anymore. Yeah.
Well, now if you use Adobe, so I've been playing with it, but if you Adobe has a new product that does they all do, right? But once you get into Illustrator and you use that aspect of it, that's been vector. but I haven't been able to find too much else that's AI that provides vector. And then when you try to vectorize it, clean it up, it's a mess. So, all right, we can move on. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Yeah. So the last one, there's a whole list of other, things that are happening or updates with different suppliers and things like that. But one that I found interesting was that Spectre & Co. is eliminating multi-line reps from its sales strategy.
Okay.
And just wondering, like, if that's, if you guys think that that's something that's going to continue to take place with more and more suppliers, or because it's sort of been a highly contested or debatable idea, is the whole sales strategy and what value do the multi-line reps add and things like that. And certainly don't want to bash any multi-line reps. Headwear USA uses a lot of multi-line reps, and they're very valuable to us, as long as we've got the right partners in place. So what do you guys think about that news?
I mean, I think multi-line reps are great for like the smaller companies that don't have sales reps, factory reps in each designated territory or for account. I think it's a great way to maximize their exposure. But once you get bigger, the need for a more detailed, oriented or like singular rep per account is necessary, right? Like I mean, Stephen, as a distributor, how do you say it when you have multi-line reps coming in that you give them an hour and they've got 10 different brands versus, one big company comes in. So I think on the size of the company, but it's still.
Yeah, I think it depends on which hat I'm wearing to try to evaluate this fairly. I think from my distributor perspective and the meeting perspective, I don't really like having all the, to try to absorb that many brands that quick, like in that short period of time. From the other perspective, though, I hate how infrequently I can see direct reps a lot of times, because it's like, in order for them to pay and cover for it, they have to have such huge territories, so, it's like, which do I want? Do I want more, connectivity with people in that relationship, or do I want someone that's more knowledgeable about specific things and driving certain products? So I can see both sides, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how it goes kind of going forward.
It'll be interesting to see, but since you guys mentioned the factory direct reps, it's not even Spectre's. At least it doesn't look like that's their model moving forward. It actually looks like they listed in the email communication that went out, they listed contact information for each customer's inside account manager. So they're going with an inside sales role. It looks like. So that's interesting, and I think that's there's certainly a huge value in inside sales these days as well. So that may be sort of the way things are moving forward, but. That in a way is almost even more sad as far as what you were saying, Stephen, with being in front of people and touching, feeling, that sort of thing. So just all interesting things to see. But anyhow, we're going to cut this one a little bit short today, but definitely had a great time talking with you guys about recent news in the industry. And again, tune in on November 22nd. Live for us. We've got some pretty big announcements coming up. But yeah, Greater Pacific, they're a direct manufacturer of custom OEM products selling to the promotional products industry with 27 plus years experience, specializing in over 10 product categories, and they can source and deliver most any product for you. Greater Pacific is full service sourcing product and managing every aspect of the production with staff on the ground in Asia and utilizing their their time-tested 20-step project management protocol. No need to worry about quality control, product safety, CPSA compliance, or the hundreds of details related to custom manufacturing. Greater Pacific oversees every aspect for you, and their global logistics team and in-house customs brokering ensure timely, seamless delivery. This is how they provide the ultimate manufacturing experience, and they back that with claim with a 30-day product guarantee on all orders. So head over to greaterpacific.com. Tell them the Industry Insider sent you, and had fun chatting with you guys today. Until next time.
See you guys.
Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of PromoCorner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit PromoCorner.com.